Thread the needle.
Over my heels, falling on my head, but all of my feels are
It's so beautiful.
Okay. I was planning to do a full review with spoilers, the whole enchilada, but there's so much I want to talk about with this movie that I'm going to have to wait to do a full spoiler review on Wednesday. Usually on my podcast, I like to talk about the positives, the neutrals, the negatives, but I'm feeling to quote Darwin Duck, I want to get a little bit dangerous this time around. So I'm just going to do something completely different. Overall, I loved it. Just holy crap. I did not want it to end. I mean, when I knew it was getting to the end, I was like, don't you dare. Don't you do this to me. It is easily one of my favorite movies of the year, favorite comic movie of the year. It even beats Guardians in my mind, though I have a very dark and shameful secret that I'm keeping from a lot of you. I have not seen Guardians 3. I know. Stop the booing. It's just, I can't handle watching animal cruelty, even if it's CGI. I can't. The dog scene in John Wick, the first John Wick, gets me every time. I can't even think about Marley and me, and I didn't even see that. Also, the hype for this movie, it just made me realize how much I miss the hype the MCU used to get. Like during the Infinity War saga, during the Infinity War and Endgame days of whenever a new Marvel movie would come out, we'd be excited, speculating, going to talk about it for days, weeks after. But now it's just, well, great, it's another Marvel movie. Let's see if this one sucks. I miss those days, man. I really miss those days. But I'm glad these movies can still deliver because this was I think it was a 5-year wait, and it was definitely worth it. This was definitely a Gwen and Miles movie. While yes, on the surface, it is a movie about Miles Morales, but below that, deeper, it is also a Gwen Stacy movie. So while Miles was going through his own sort of character growth, his own development, his own story, Gwen was also getting some time for her character to grow and her have her own story. The tone of this film was honestly very serious, like more serious than the first film. Yeah, there's some funny moments, but it was more serious than funny. And I honestly didn't mind that. Like, I liked it. I thought it worked pretty well. Also, it was spiders galore in this movie, and I love it. Well, no shit, dumbass. It's the Spider-Verse. I know, but it was so fun to be watching it and trying to point out all the spiders. I'd be like, Spectacular, Insomniac, Armored, Cowboy. It'll definitely take you a few watches to try and point out all the different spiders from the comics. Could be a fun challenge. Out of all the spiders we saw, the main spiders that we were going to get in the movie, Spider-Punk was easily my favorite, and apparently that is the major consensus of he is the most popular spider out of this movie. I thought I would be sort of going for Miguel, but nah, Hobie. I mean, honestly, screw Morbius 2 Morbin Time, screw El Muerto. I mean, seriously, that guy has like 2 appearances in the comics, and this is the most common image we see of him. Like, no, don't give me villain movies. Give me a Spider-Punk movie. Like, Sony, you have all these spiders. Use them. Even though Spider-Punk was my favorite, I still love watching Spider-Man 2099. He's definitely one of my favorite characters in the movie. And Oscar Isaac was awesome. And the backstory they gave Miguel was honestly kind of sad and a big departure from the comics. And he was also very complex, like borderline villainous. I'm watching him and I'm just like, how am I supposed to feel about this guy? He was hardcore. Spider-Man India was also really fun to watch. It was also a really big departure from the usual Spider-Man archetype, which I will get in my spoiler review. And Jessica Drew, loved her. She was really cool to watch. And Ben Reilly, I love Andy Samberg, but I wasn't really a big fan of how they handled Ben Reilly. And also, to be honest, I fully expected Andy Samberg to do like his Nick Cage voice for some weird reason. Don't know why. The Spot was really cool in this movie. To be honest, I never really saw him as a main movie villain kind of guy. I always saw him as sort of a side villain. And when it was announced that he was going to be in this movie, I was like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. He can be a side villain for the big bad. But when it was announced that he was going to be the main villain, I kind of raised my eyebrow at that, like, really? The Spot, not Noel, not Moreland and the Inheritors, the Spot. Because when it comes to Spider-Man and his villains, the Spot is at the very bottom of the list. But by golly, they made him work, and it made sense. And I am very excited to see him in Beyond the Spider-Verse and to see how this all kind of concludes. The art of this movie, I mean, do I really have to say it? It was beautiful, Gwen's art style on her Earth was so beautiful, pretty, stunning, and Spider-Punk's art style was awesome. Apparently, that took them 3 years to make. Same with the music. This and Into Spider-Verse have awesome soundtracks, and I can't wait to add those to my Spotify. Also, the fan service. I know people don't like it or they're conflicted about it, but I love it, and this film was chocked full of it. I mean, I'm watching and I'm like, yes, give it to me. Just give me all the fan service. It's kind of like when you're at Olive Garden or Macaroni Grill and you're like putting the Parmesan cheese on it. I'm just like, keep it coming. Just keep it coming. Don't really have a lot of gripes with the movie, if any. I mean, maybe some of the exposition at the beginning felt a little bit unneeded since we kind of know what happened and they maybe could have shortened it down a little bit. And if I had to give like a negative and be just kind of be really nitpicky, no Spider-Man Noir. I mean, how could they? He carried the first movie. Anyways, those are just my quick thoughts across the Spider-Verse. I will be back Wednesday to do my full spoiler review where I will get into the nitty-gritty of everything. But until then, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Stay happy and be well. Don't piss off a lot of Spider-Men. And I will see you next time. Peace out.